All right. Hi, welcome to Friday Leadership Deep Dive. And I'm restarting this series. I used to do this before. Um, I stopped for various reasons, and now I'm here doing this again. So we don't have any viewers yet. I'm hoping that we get some. Anyway, let's start off. So, leadership, as suggested by HBR articles and LinkedIn posts, and any other online articles, including mine, there's so much filled with platitudes. Manage your emotions, lead with empathy, lead with curiosity. Okay, fine. I understand that. We know that. But how do I apply that to my situation? How do I do that when I'm facing this difficult moment in managing people? So, this is my attempt to kind of dive deeper into the nuances of common leadership advice and maybe bring some more depth and different angles to that, to what you kind of read online, and that you can apply to your own work and life. So, I'm Monica Vegalam, and I'm a leadership coach. And I bring leadership and people management from the perspective of Indian spirituality and transformational coaching. In other words, in this path, we work with our own mind to create deeper and wider impact. There are a lot of advantages to this than conventional strategy and tactics, because it's like at after one point it becomes, when you follow in this path of leadership, it becomes kind of effortless to manage people and just be with people and drive results. Your presence increases, your performance increases. Maybe I'll talk about that some other time. So, fair warning, this is one of the things that I'm still working on, which is public speaking. So, have some grace for me as I figure this out and kind of work through my filler words. So, okay, let's dive in. And today, what I want to do, I want to explore one of the root causes of why leaders might be lacking executive presence. And I believe the biggest root cause is power leaks. There are few other root causes that I'll be exploring more over the coming weeks, but today we'll talk about power leaks. Um, Power leaks are these behavior patterns that cause us to not show up with a certain sortedness and certain stable foundation, and especially when we are thrown off guard, um, when we are faced with new situations where there is a lot of uncertainty, ambiguity, and all those terms we use, such as imposter syndrome and self-doubt and I don't know, perfectionism, I guess. So all of all of those patterns that we have, those default ways we kind of behave, they are more or less under control if you have certain confidence in your skills and in your thought leadership. um, but you would have noticed, if you have been a manager for some time, when you switch from IC to manager job, there is completely new set of skills required. And then when you become an M2, there is a larger field you get to play with, and different skills are required, and different way of thinking about your job is required. So it every time you jump up the career ladder, this happens. And let's say you enter a completely new industry, or you enter a new job, and same thing again. Like, you don't know what's going on, everything is new, you have so much uncertainty. And then in those moments, if you are able to show up with strong stable foundation and not get rattled in those situations, then people will really feel inspired by you. People will trust you so much more. So that, according to me, is executive presence. which is, so I define it like this: inspiring confidence in your leadership when you're faced with uncertainty. Okay, so as you watch this, um, just post some comments so that I know that you're tracking, and if there's any questions that come up, just let me know so that I can speak to those. So coming back to power leagues, uh, this stable foundation that I talked about, right? It's a very subtle aspect, and it's a sense of inner power. It's a sense of clarity of mind, your emotional power, and also um it's it's a way of being. So I don't think like anyone talks about this as much in the leadership circles. You see this only in the transformational coaching circles, and I wanted to like bring this here. Let's start with what power is. It's not authority. It's not. It's not like your confidence, like speaking on stage. So right now, I feel so conscious, and you might say, "Hey, Monica, you're talking about executive presence, but do you have it?" What you might be thinking is confidence in public speaking, and that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about stage presence. I am talking about when you have to lead, when you have to lead people in those meeting rooms where everybody is doubtful and they have a goal, you have to drive an outcome, and it's past seems very murky, and people are skeptical, and you have a big goal, nobody knows how to get there. But if you are able to show up with kind of softness in that time, and inspire trust in people, it goes a long way in your ability to enroll people and drive them to results. So that's what I'm talking about. Let's see, I have some notes here. um, and when I said that it's not public speaking and it's not stage presence, just imagine, right? Do you think all ted ted talk speakers have executive presence? I wouldn't imagine so. And do you think people who are not good at public speaking, or who are introverted, would not be able to lead teams? No, because there are amazing, amazing leaders who are able to lead teams even if they're not public extroverted personalities. So when I was working at Microsoft, there were two particular okay, there was this one person who was a very higher level executive, and I won't take any names, but he was outside, just by like in the org, everybody perceived him as, wow, he's such a great executive and all that. His emails were like so nice, communication was so crisp and everything. But then there was a talk about how he would swear a lot, he would like push people so much, yell at people. And imagine like being with that person, like it you're always going to be operating from your fear instead of being inspired by their leadership. And then there were two other executives who were not that up high in the chain, but still they were, I think, VPs. And they were sharing their worries, their concerns, but not in a way like, here's a dump of what I'm feeling, but in a way that's very authentic to them. And then, and from there they would lead, okay, this is what I'm feeling, but And I understand what you are all going through, how this can be a problem, but here's what we are going to do. And what that does is it just gives that confidence. And when you see them, it's not that they are I mean, things are uncertain, but they're not rattled by it. So yesterday we did this LinkedIn audio event, and I had three other coaches with me, and everybody agreed that executive presence is not about suiting up. It's not about your voice. It's not about your public speaking. It's not about um, being the loudest man or woman in the room, and it's not about your personality or gender or the culture you come from. And one of the coaches I was talking to privately, he told me that a lot of Asian men approach him for coaching around executive presence because they think that they get feedback that you lack executive presence, and they're like, how do I improve it? I'm not a white male. How do I get that charisma and inspire people? uh, okay, so that's like my angle on executive presence and a big preamble. But let's get into it, right? What is the root cause that we lack this, and what is the difference between those people who are able to show up with so much grace and also that rigor and openness to people, so that they inspire them and they make them follow everywhere. And I bring a background of Indian spirituality into this because I have met teachers and coaches. When you talk to them, their presence is just so unmistakable. You are like, what is the deal with this person? I want to follow them everywhere. I want to talk to them. I want to kind of do whatever they say. It's a kind of a dangerous territory because you're becoming a follower, but then what they do is make you a leader yourself. They One of my teachers, he actually kind of keeps pushing me away, and he keeps telling me that nobody's teacher. You have to stand alone, and if you need support, I'm here. And that's just amazing because there is no ego involved in it, and he's in this continuous practice of dropping his ego. And that's one of the let's kind of talk about that a little bit later. So first, let's talk about power leaks. uh, how I describe power leaks is that, imagine you are a bucket. um, Not you are a bucket, but imagine a bucket, right? And if you have certain power, and we all do innately, there's nothing you have to do to get that power. If your bucket is full of that power, there are these holes in the buckets caused by our egos, caused by our fear, that leaks that away, and then people can sense it. And what why does that happen? And I think it's because um, there are a few reasons, and I think they are kind of related. One is, our intentions always don't match our actions and our impact. There is like a dissonance between them. As in, for example, let's say I want to I want to go and give a presentation, and my intention there is to educate everyone about the topic that I have. But then my actions will be in such a way that I'm trying to impress people about me, instead of being in the intention of um conveying the message. I'm trying to impress people about me, so I keep talking a lot about my credibility, a lot about how I have overcome this all thing, and I am the amazing star and all that. And people see through that bullshit totally. and then they kind of subconsciously like disengage with you, or like roll their eyes, here they go again, or they're just not that locked into your leadership when you do that. So that's like the and it's a human paradigm, I think, that our intentions never match our actions, and actions never kind of or and then our intention doesn't match the impact that we have on people. And the benefit of, or even the purpose of working with a coach or working with a leader, is to bring all these three into alignment. The gap happens because of our conditioning, of our mental conditioning, and of the ways we seek validation from the world. We grow up seeking love and approval from our parents, and then we just continue that as we grow up, and we bring that to our workplace, our relationships, because that's the default way our sense of self operates. So I'll give you some examples of that. uh, one of the one of the things is, let me go to this post I made recently about power leaks. So, okay, so one of my patterns that I keep working on is that is to like kind of project myself as a smart person. So like growing up, I got a lot of love and approval from my parents, from my teachers, for being smarter than my peers. I was getting all the grades, and I was able to give all the answers and all of that, and I'm pretty sure you relate. Uh, so when I went to so you would imagine, right? Because I'm getting that love and approval, I project myself even further as a smarter person. Like I'm looking for that high, of other people telling me that, oh my god, she's so smart, what are you doing, or wow, this girl will do amazing things when she grows up, or whatever. So then I'm looking for that hit, for that reward. And then I learn to project myself as um smart constantly. I want that approval. So, well, I would do that during childhood, and then when I went to college, um, and especially guys, right? When I made some observations, or when even if it's just normal observations that normal people would think smart, or if I kind of projected myself as smart, guys were like put off. Even girls, they were like, "Who's this girl? I don't want to be friends with her." So I would like subconsciously absorb that, and then I would like dump myself down. Okay, so to get peers' approval, I need to pull my brilliance way down, or to get my parents approval, I need to pull my brilliance way up. So I'm over tuning it or under tuning it in any given situation. That is a power leap, because I'm seeking validation. I'm swinging between the extremes of like showing off, or like deliberately dumbing myself down and looking stupid. So, how I talk, behave, and how I lead, how I do my work, everything is a function of what other people are going to judge about me. I want them to think a certain way about me. So, where is the power? The power is not here. The power is in their hands, in their thoughts, in their impression of me. And the funny thing is, it doesn't even matter what the other people think, because they might be thinking about themselves or thousand other thoughts. But then my mind is so hooked on to that I'm constantly acting, listening, speaking in that way. So validation, seeking approval, that's number one power leak. Just imagine, right, in your work, how much what actions do you do to get that hit of validation? uh, Yesterday in the audio event, somebody presented this situation of, suddenly in uncertainty, as in like something, I'm well prepared for the presentation, but then something suddenly changes and then I lose my confidence, I don't know what to say. And at that moment my presence is weak. So of course I'm paraphrasing and um, changing this, but I get this. I've spoken to so many leaders, even VPs and SVPs, who stumble and get tongue tied, and I do too. Like, look at me doing this live, right? So many filler words, completely opposite of a good public speaker, I'm pretty sure. So what's happening here? What's happening is that my our minds are hooked on to what other people are thinking about me. I want approval, I want people to think a certain way about me. I have like an image that I want to build. And as long as I'm doing things to kind of impress people or impress myself, the power is not here. Imagine Satya Nadella, right? Whether he's a whether he has skills, thought leadership, whether he has experience or not, when he took over, if he walked into the meeting room trying to impress people and say that, hey, it's you are I want to show that I'm a good CEO, it shows. It's so damn, like, it's so damn obvious for people, hey, this person is like trying to show off. And that's where we just lose that trust in people's leadership. So that's like our number one place of work, which is to kind of unhook from this idea of seeking approval and validation. And if you see, right, there are so many coaches who work with you on personal branding. And I remember when I was an engineer at Microsoft, I asked one of the PMs, hey, what does branding mean? And it's like, and she told me, it's what you want other people to think of you. And it's so, like, at that time, I was like, ah, that makes sense. But then now, when I think back to it, right, it's so, it's like a weakest way of showing power, because it's not in your hands. Nobody can control what other people think of you. Even, and if we kind of try to manage that image, we are tiptoeing, we are spending so much energy on that, we are tiptoeing around issues. Imagine, like, you need to have a difficult conversation. This is what is the problem, because you're so worried about um, what this person might think of you. And I'm not saying that you do this consciously, we do it subconsciously. It's a pattern very ingrained in us. uh, and it comes very, I don't want to say naturally, but it comes by default because of the way we are wired. We are social animals, seeking validation for our ideas, for our emotions, for the way just we are. So how do we work with this, right? When I talked about this brilliance, and then you're tuning it way up to project and tuning it way down to kind of show that you're not that imposing. What How you kind of work with that is, you try to lose that and own your brilliance, in terms of, yeah, I have certain ideas and I want to present those. It is to serve a particular mission and a purpose that I have, to serve my audience, instead of seeking to impress anyone, and seeking to be very outcome focused. When I say outcome focused, it's the image focused, what other people are thinking about me kind of focused. So why this happens is, like, what's in the way is usually fear. And when I say fear, it's not fear of snakes or fear of bungee jumping or whatever. It's the fear of what people are going to judge about me. We all have that. It just looks differently for different people. And that's where that fear causes us to act in ways that leak our power. That's like a big hole in that bucket that I just talked about. So I'll give you a second example. We all know those managers who come and say, "Hey, I'm just imagine a new manager coming to a team and saying, 'I'm just here to learn from you.' And but when you actually like give them ideas, they reject it out of hand, and they're like, 'Yeah, I mean, yeah, that makes sense.' And they'll add some padding. That's a great idea, brilliant idea. Um, we might work through that in this way, that way, and then say that that won't work because in my past team this happened, or in my experience that happened. Now they might not be wrong about it, but they might have completely valid ideas. But the thing is, their intention to learn and their action of saying that they won't adapt the idea because of xyz reason, and the impact on you, because like when a manager behaves that way and you are on the other side, it leaves you with this experience of, oh man, I am not, like, my ideas are not valued here, or this person totally doesn't want to learn, or however you kind of sense it. And that is the impact. These three don't match, and that manager doesn't have power anymore. He is how he like, there's a difference between his doing and his being, which is, he's saying that I'm here to learn, but how he's being about it is, I know better than you. Your idea might not work in that situation at all. That's not the point here I'm making. Your manager might be completely right, but because of this dissonance, um, they are leaking power. And I bet that how they show up everywhere else in their life is also, I know. And even why they have that intention of saying I'm here to learn is because they got feedback that, hey, I feel like you're not open to ideas. So then they set an intention, okay, I should be in more beginner's mindset, and I should learn a lot from other people, I should be open. But then their being and their subconscious mind and their subconscious patterns just don't match that. So their power is in the hands of their behavior patterns, in like ways they justify themselves that they know. So that's a power leak. Now so tying these both examples, right, I hope you see the point I'm trying to make about executive presence. If you are an executive, if these are not in alignment, if your power is not within you, if you're not sorted within yourself and you're leaking it this way, um, people sense it. And when faced with an uncertainty, these things just blow up. One of the things is, like, when I feel anxious, right, after COVID pandemic, when I there was a long time we didn't meet people, and then when I went into rooms and kind of started meeting people, whether that's socially or whether because of my work, I just felt this so much anxiety. And there was a recent webinar I did. It was an in-person event, and there was so much anxiety and nervousness because um, I didn't know how things were going to go. It's it. I had this pattern from way back. I'm like very introverted, and there is a lot of doubt. Like I project confidence outside, but I doubt myself so much. And I've been working on this over the years. And I would say that I made a lot of progress in the way I think about self doubt, and the way I judge myself, the way I kind of beat myself up with sticks. But again, when I was faced in this situation, all of that came back. So that will always be like an edge for me, like the social anxiety. But then it's about continuously letting go of that need for validation, need for a certain outcome of people thinking about me a certain way, or a certain need for um, not not being judged, or a certain need for um, like my emotions to go away. Because of course, in situations, fear is going to show up. So it's a matter of how I'm able to deal with that fear, as in the moment, how I'm able to deal with that fear and just go on to do things that I want to do, that serve my mission, that serve my ultimate results that I'm trying to create. Some people talk about, okay, you can overcome your fear, you can overcome your imposter syndrome. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, sure, you can kind of distinguish a lot, and then you can overcome certain patterns of self-doubt. But if you are a human and not god, you will be faced with fear all the time. And driven people, like maybe like you who is watching this video, and like me, we are always looking to step out of our comfort zone. We are always kind of wanting to play bigger, go after bigger impact, go after bigger visions. And whenever you step out of your comfort zone, this fear will present itself. And the work that I do with my coach and with my teachers is to how to be with the fear and not give into it. The thing is, we give a lot of significance to fear. And one of the things that I'm working on is to not do that. How do I take action despite fear? How do I show up as a human and uh, do what I want to do despite fear being there for me? Maybe fear, that's another topic that we'll talk about. And on the power leaks topic, I want to bring one more example that I mentioned the other day. So I'm going to quickly go and look at my post. Great live video where you get to wait and watch while I go to my LinkedIn and see my earlier post. This takes time, okay, like thinking, writing, and all that. And I'm trying to be more spontaneous about it, and it's just hard work. I have to admit that. Okay, so I wrote about feedback. Yes, that's a great example, because this was a big edge for me. When I receive feedback, I go into two extremes. Okay, and one is I'm very agreeable. So if you give me sometimes like sometime in the morning, if you tell me, hey, I think this is something that you need to work on, and I'm like, oh, totally, I can see that. That makes sense. I need to work on that. So I'm like very very agreeable. Give me knowledge on how to improve myself. I will take that. And then by like evening, when I'm like kind of exhausted and I don't have that much energy anymore, if you give me feedback and I'm like, what are you talking about? I never do that. That's your stuff. You're projecting onto me. And knowing a little bit of psychology and coaching people adds this one more layer. I will use those concepts to kind of throw back things at people and get entrenched in my own patterns even more. So, and it also depends on the person who is giving feedback. you know uh, like if it's my partner or friends, mm, well, there also sometimes I'm agreeable and sometimes I'm totally defensive. And then if it's my coach, right, I'm like so agreeable because I think I have like this uh, some I used to have this idealization that he can come and save me. So then I'm like, okay, give me feedback. I will take it all. I will implement it right away. And then when he would touch my blind spots in ways like where I'm very very resistant to look at things, I'll just go defensive. So see this pattern of, on one extreme I'm agreeable, on the other extreme I'm defensive. So when you see this playing out, right, where is the power? The power is in um, the power is in the pattern of making feedback mean something about my self-worth. That's where uh, that's where I lose that. And in those moments, right, when I mean, just imagine somebody you give feedback to and they show up defensive. You totally sense that, right? You're like, you are not thinking that this person is awesome, I need to trust more about them, I need to follow them more, I need to be inspired, I'm so inspired by their leadership. You're not thinking that. And that happens even in those people who are very agreeable. They are like, on the surface they seem collaborative, you know and they just take whatever comes their way, and then take whatever feedback comes their way and like really really work hard at it. But then there is a sense of not trusting their leadership even in those cases. So these we leak power in uh, when it comes to feedback as well, because our self-worth is so tied to it. Okay, let's see what else I have. I think that's it for today. So these power leaks happen because we put the onus of who we are and what we are on other people, other people's thoughts, and ultimately how we want to be perceived, how we want to be judged, and what is the image that I want to create about me. There is something to be said about appearing a certain way to people, but then in this day and age, and especially in tech industry where everybody is smart, where everybody is exceptional, everybody has so much expertise and experience and thought leadership, people can see through that. And if you want to create leaders who are inspired by your leadership, and if you want to lead people in uncertainty, make sure that you close these power leaks, work on them. There are various ways to work on them. The best tool I know is transformational coaching, and there may be other tools out there, like working with teachers, which I do. Um, and there are many, many, many transformational approaches. So work on these power leaks, and you will like executive presence will happen naturally. You don't have to do a lot. I mean, there is the part of skills, but I'm talking about the subtle aspect. You don't have to suffer through, how do I create this impression, how do I make people trust me, how do I make people be confident about my leadership, and all of that stuff kind of falls away because you naturally show up powerfully in each and every moment. There is no other way you can be than um, create an impact of strong executive presence if you let go of these power leaks. So that's all I have for you today, and I will be doing more of this series going forward, and I'll talk about other things that cause you to leak executive presence. The next one that I want to talk about is, let me see again. Thank you for being so patient as I work through this. Uh, yes, the next one that I want to work on is that I want to explore with you is lack of a purpose and clarity of mind. So basically, if you're not clear on what you want, and we think that we are clear, but almost never, and that has been my experience coaching people. Um, so we'll talk about how when you are not clear, when you don't have a clear mission and even just clarity in your thought, um, you show up, you are not able to show up powerfully. So I'll do that next Friday. Come join me at lunchtime Pacific, or I think evening time Eastern. So any questions, thoughts, objections, just send me a DM. And if you want to have a conversation, if you want some resources, support, I'm not just talking about coaching, but any other support that I feel like I can give you, I'll be happy to help you out. Uh, just send me a DM, and let's figure this out, because my mission is to help you build the executive presence, so that you can be a change agent in whatever you do, what in whatever mission you take up. All right, then, see you next week. Thank you for watching, thank you for tuning in, and any comments, send them my way. My LinkedIn DMs are open. Bye bye.